All right, we will reconvene the Monday, November 13th, 2023 meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. I'll do introductions real quickly. I'm Jeff Benton, President of the board this year. To my left is Vice President and fellow Commissioner Gary Merrill. To my right is fellow Commissioner Barb Lewis. Our clerks are Brandy Wilson and Jennifer Walraven. Our business for this afternoon, starting at 1:30, is to do the Faulkner number 302 watershed drainage improvement petition viewing. So what I'll do is I'll read through the instructions on what we'll accomplish this afternoon. And so I'll start with, I would like to welcome everyone to the viewing for the consideration of the Faulkner number 302 watershed drainage improvement petition. There is a sign-in sheet circulating the room, and we ask that you please sign the sheet to indicate your attendance. Today's viewing of the proposed improvement area is taking place at the office of the Board of County Commissioners with the use of video technology. Video will be available to gain an oversight of the project limits and specific areas. No, and this is an important part, no testimony or decisions are made here at the viewing. This is a way for the board to become familiar with the area. Again, no testimony or decisions are to be made, because oftentimes people will start to get into testimony about why it should be done or shouldn't be done. So that's not the purpose of today's viewing. First hearing on the petition is scheduled for Thursday, February 8th, 2024 at 10 a.m. At the hearing, we will then hear a report from the engineer's office on the petition, and that is also the time for landowner testimony for or against the petition. When it's time for landowners to point out the drainage concerns of the area, we'll work our way through the participants. As a reminder, this is not the time for testimony. I will now turn the proceeding over to Brett Bacon from the Soil and Water Conservation District.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Brett Bacon, Deputy Administrator for Soil and Water. Before I begin today, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge Daniel Barr. You guys are familiar with Dan. This is Dan's last week with our office. He is leaving and accepted a position with Madison Soil and Water Conservation District. He will be more or less the entirety of their technical program, trying to build their program and model, to what we have and the strength of our program. Dan has been with us for 8 years and has been an integral part of our team, been instrumental in the success of our work with your board and the county engineer. And we're very sorry to see him go. We're going to miss him, but we certainly wish him the best of luck, and Madison County's getting a good one. So just would like to thank Dan publicly.
Well, Dan, thank you for all you've done. Been through a lot of these, that's for sure. Accomplished a lot, and we thank you, and we'll miss you. Wish you the best.
Yes. Thank you, Dan. Gosh.
Don't like your new office? Is that the reason?
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
We built you a brand new office and decided it wasn't good enough, huh? All right. No, seriously, thank you, Dan.
We have threatened to tie him to the conference room, chair, and just set a computer in front of him and not let him leave. But no, we wish him the best of luck. So, okay, I have a couple videos, one longer video, one really short one, and some pictures to show of this potential project area. You can see on your map this video. It will start where it says start, following the path of the black and yellow line. Point out a couple things along the way. This line and the flight path more or less follows the path of the existing subsurface drain tile, historically known as the Faulkner number 302. First part, we're flying mostly over farm field. Coming up to where I've marked tree line, right after the tree line, you're going to see, right there on the right side of the screen, what I suspect to be a blowout on the subsurface drain tile, spot where the tile has potentially collapsed, coming up into somewhat of a marshy area. Not sure if that might be another blowout on the tile, it's possible. And then the road culvert going down through Mill Creek Golf Course. And the existing tile, yeah, the existing tile essentially splits two fairways. I think there are some places you can see where it's somewhat open, potentially collapsed portions of the subsurface drain there. And then we're going to go down into the woods. Fortunately, not a whole lot you're going to be able to see as it goes through the woods here. The drainage system at this point, I believe, is open channel. The tile outlet is somewhere just downstream of the golf course.
And what's the date of the video?
October 18th. October 18th.
I saw the one blowout, Brad.
Yeah.
Were there others?
I think there's some as it goes down through the golf course,
Okay.
but I have not walked the entire length of the system, so I'm not 100% certain on that. But the one is fairly certain and identifiable. And then this video is just sitting at that point where the length was too far to fly all the way down to what we would potentially recognize as the end of the system down at Calhoun Road. So this is just looking down that way. I'm going to try and pause here. Yeah. So you can see the road off in the distance. The channel kind of meanders and winds through the woods and ultimately goes under the road. So it's just to give you a look at that, since we couldn't fly over it. And then just a couple pictures taken from the drone, if they'll come up. And so this is looking upstream from that same spot. Pretty much the same thing. And then I believe this last one is just a little bit further up. So that gives you an overview of the project or potential project area. Any questions, or would you like to see any of them again?
Commissioner Merrill, Commissioner Lewis. Not a real long one.
No, not terribly.
Yeah.
Not compared to what we've been dealing with lately.
Yeah. So, again, I appreciate that. The video technology is very helpful. If we do go forward and you're digging through the woods, if you could return any of my golf balls, I'd appreciate that. I've left a
Saying you
few
have
in.
a slice off
I've
that
left a
fairway?
few in the
Okay.
woods on number 2. there,
All right.
So, I don't know. I guess that's it from the board. So we'll open it up to comments from the residents or the folks who are involved in this. So, again, we are not taking testimony at this point, so you can't speak in favor of it or against it, but if there's something you wanted to point out, about the video that we saw, be glad to take those comments now. Come on, we'll ask you to come up to the podium and speak into the microphone since we're recording this, if you would, please.
Mine was actually a silly comment. I own the property.
Over there. There we go.
I own the property along number 2.
Oh, yeah, we need.
David Hokinson, 3878 Newhouse Road. I own the property along number 2, and I was going to say, if you could identify those golf balls, I'd be happy to give them back to you. As I said, it was a silly
These are all
comment.
movies, right?
No, exactly. I don't know that kind of game.
Also, along the length of the course, You make reference to a blowout, and if you could clarify what you would see as the impact of that at the, on our property, we have significant flooding, and I can't really attribute the exact source of the water. I can think of a couple of different areas, but I'm wondering if from that blowout you could see it migrating, that would be south into our property, if it would go that far, or if the water's coming from the south or from the east, but it's rendering a significant portion of our property unusable for significant portions of the spring and summer. Thanks.
Thank you.
It's an excellent question and a very difficult one to answer without actually visiting the property. I'd be happy to leave you my card, and we could set up a time. I'd be happy to come out and meet with you at the property and take a look at things.
I appreciate that.
Okay. Yeah, sure, go right ahead, and again, if you could just identify yourself and your address.
Sure. My name's Chris Young. I live at 6800 Calhoun Road.
Okay.
It's not in the district, but my wife and I own properties 20, 15, and 22 on the map that's this way right here.
Okay, yep,
It's-
ours aren't numbered, the ones I have.
We live just to, our properties are just to the other side of Dave's property, going up along Fairway, number 2. I do have some pictures on my phone after we had my comment would be, after we had our discussion with Brett and Dan at the side of township trustee's place, this is back in January, there was a heavy rain. It was amazing. It was a heavy rain for like whole day. And basically where you talked about just past the tree line, I think it's on Trevor Vining's property, if I'm not mistaken. There was a blowout and water was shooting up about 2 foot in the air, okay? And everything was draining out, and there was a big flood. But I have to say, I play Mill Creek Golf Course all the time, okay? And if it rains, it does flood across whole, number 2, and between 1 and 2, or 2 and 3, excuse me. But it dries up within a matter of, not days, but probably hours, okay? And so, I mean, that's really not the problem. I don't know what happened, why all the houses along the north or east side of Newhouse that got built were from Calvin Fink, the petitioner. And all those are adding to the water flow down in his farmland right there, because it all goes downhill like that. And it then comes down around that path that you saw. And the thing is, I don't know why everyone's being asked. It seems like Trevor Vining and the Vinings and...
We're getting into testimony.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just saying, a comment, I'll say.
Okay.
I know that Trevor's grandfather and Calvin Fink have been feuding for a long time. This is what this all is about. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
At the first hearing, I believe it's February the 8th for testimonies.
Yeah, right.
February the 8th is for testimony.
Yep.
On our comments, do we have to put that in writing, or the testimony in writing?
Either, you can submit it in writing if you can't make it.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, sure.
You're welcome to send copies of your pictures too, and we can show those, just
Yeah.
like we're showing the video.
If you, I can get that to you after I got it on myself, and I can airdrop it to you.
Okay.
Yep, yep, okay. Others wants to point something out about the watershed or anything? Last chance. Brett, anything else? Dan?
I do have one other.
Yeah, sure.
Again, David Hokinson. Where the watershed enters our property, there are 2 or 3 points of entrance into the open trench. What is the anticipated build-out of that area? What do you envision that looking like if this were to go forward?
The way this process works, obviously at this stage of the game, we have just flown this video, haven't done any on-site investigation work. We will do a very minimal amount, if any, more to prepare that first hearing report for the hearing on February the 8th. So to answer that question, at this point, I have to answer, I don't know. we would get into that detailed, if the board approves the project to proceed at the first hearing in February, that was when we would move into on-site investigation, come back with a detailed set of engineering plans, and would be able to absolutely answer that question in advance of a second or final hearing. But at this stage, I just don't have enough information to do anything more than a guess.
Okay. All right. Other comments, questions, concerns to point out? Commissioner Lewis or Commissioner Merrill, anything else?
Nothing else I need at this time.
Okay. Dan, you want to get up and talk? Any last words? All right. Well, again, thank you, Dan, for everything. Done a really nice job over the years. Okay. With that, we will close this hearing. And we'll
Viewing,
go
yeah.
back into recess
Yes.
until 2 o'clock,
Recess until 2.
where we got another hearing, so.
Thank you.